Lizzie, is that the solar tent that we can see behind you? Can we go inside your tent?
Yes, let's have a look. You can go inside, and I must say that in New Zealand, we do have free drinks and free food that was kindly sponsored. But we've got all of the New Zealand, as you can see. Okay. So we'll leave you to your premiere in Sydney, and we're going to have our post-screening panel discussion now. I hope you guys in Australia all enjoy the film and find it powerful.
I think we're going to now have a VT, a video of the setup for the New Zealand premiere, and we're going to see how they managed to power a cinema tent by solar.
These are the solar panels for our solar cinema tent premiere in Auckland tonight. And in New Zealand, we're being even more environmentally friendly than in London, actually. We're not having batteries because they're not efficient and they're also quite toxic. Instead, we've stored a whole lot of energy. We've fed it into the grid, and tonight we're drawing down that electricity and using it for our premiere. I can actually show you how much energy we've stored from the solar panels back here. So this is the box where we can see how much electricity we have stored from the solar panels. I don't understand the technical stuff, but all we want to know is that we use the same amount of electricity that we have stored up, so that we're completely neutral electricity-wise. And here we have the satellite dish, which is going to allow us to have this live satellite link up between Sydney Theatre and Auckland premiere here in the Viaduct Harbour. So this is our solar cinema tent in Auckland. Very exciting. Greenpeace and Oxfam are co-hosting this event tonight, so they've come together to put all the different elements together. We've got loads of volunteers here from Greenpeace and Oxfam, and they're working on signs and locations and rickshaws and drinks and all that kind of stuff. It's just one thing. There's no green carpet at the moment. I can't believe it. There's supposed to be a green carpet all the way from the tent going up here, which is where the celebrities and everybody's going to arrive. It's very important because Women's Weekly have just confirmed it's very mainstream in New Zealand. They're coming heaps of paparazzi and press, so we need this green carpet. I don't know where it is, but at the moment there's no green carpet. Okay, so now we have Keisha Castle-Hughes. I'm actually a huge fan of yours for so long. I feel like you should still be a child, but obviously you're not.
I know, I've only grown about, a few inches or something.
So how do you rate our chances of averting runaway climate change? Are you optimistic or pessimistic?
I'm a very optimistic person, and so I'm always, and I just, morally, from what I've learned through being a part of the sign-on campaign with Greenpeace, I believe the science that I've read. I can, see the impacts myself, and as a mother especially, I just really hope that the right forces come in and, agree to make some change.
Thanks for coming so much tonight. How did you get here tonight?
How did I get here? Well, I was concerned as everybody else about climate change and really concerned that the message of 40% carbon reduction by 2020 is not being received as warmly as it ought to be. We're going to need a lot of legislation to push this through because the time is now, this is past the 11th hour.
And did you arrive by any kind of interesting low carbon method tonight?
Well, I have a Prius. It wasn't a bicycle. I wasn't wearing my bike shoes, and I came straight from work, but yeah,
Well, thanks very much for coming. It's really great to have you, and we'll talk to you again afterwards.
Good on. Thanks, babe.
Thank you.
Well, the New Zealand premiere is doing an extremely good job at being very green, and here in Sydney, Australia, we're also doing our best. Every aspect of the premiere has really been thought about very hard, and we've been cutting emissions throughout the premiere as far as we possibly can, and we've been also adding them up. We're going to give you the total later. Here's a man who knows about emissions. Even the lighting guys have had to be making a lot of changes. What have you been doing, Pepe?
Well, we've used fluorescent lights and LED lights as opposed to your conventional lights. By doing that, we've using 20% of the power consumption of a normal light.
So you cut your emissions 80%?
That's right.
So basically we're all going to be in the dark tonight, is that what you're saying?
No, it will be as good as using a normal light.
And who said climate change was boring? Thank you very much, Pepe. But obviously the big thing in terms of emissions is transport, and I hate to say, and I hate to admit it, but one person has caused more emissions than the whole rest of that premiere, this premiere, and that person is unfortunately me. Because I flew from London here to Sydney, which is 13 tonnes of carbon dioxide. and that's basically how much emissions we should all be making in 13 years, not one flight. But you know, personally, I would never fly for a holiday or something like that. But paradoxically, I do feel that hopefully this premiere and this film can help stop runaway climate change. So this one flight, I hope, is going to be worth it. But everybody else who's come to this premiere here in Sydney has had to come on extremely low carbon transport. Hopefully we're going to see some of these people arriving on their bikes. Here they come. These very important guests here are arriving by boat, it seems, doing a little dance as they come. You've got to have a shot. What premiere could be complete without a shot of the Sydney Harbour Bridge? I believe we're going to be talking to these celebrity guests later. I do hope we are, because I want to ask them all about Antarctica. Thank you very much. Nice to see you arriving on your boats there. And we're going to hopefully go and see all the other forms of transport, all the other low carbon. I believe we've had people walking, we've had bikes, we've had bike rickshaws. Here they all are. That thing is called a pedicab, apparently. Never seen one before in my life. And I believe that's an electric car, which is also very low carbon. And if our luck is in, we're going to see the star of the show arriving in a very, very special vehicle, perhaps the kind of vehicle that we're all going to be arriving in the future. Okay, we've got a very special guest here now. I'm just going to grab her. Rachel Ward. She's just having a picture taken. Take your time. Don't worry, we're just doing a live satellite link to Australia here and Australia. Rachel Ward, thanks very much for coming to our premiere.
Pleasure, looking forward to it.
Why are you here?
Because I was ordered to get here. No, because I'm part of the group with John Collee, who's bringing. John, where are you? Who will be bringing this new thing to Australia, and yeah, go green.
A new thing to Australia. That sounds very, very intriguing. Thanks, Rachel. And I believe now that we're going to have a very special guest who knows a lot about dancing penguins. Is John Collee here? He is. He's coming. Run, John Collee. We're all waiting. Here he is. Hello, nice to meet you. Could you do the penguin dance?
I'm afraid I can't do it. That was George's speciality.
I believe you wrote Happy Feet, an eco-classic.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
So why are you here tonight?
Oh, well, obviously, completely kind of obsessed with the problem. It's, you know, it's a massive challenge, I think, and, you know, anyone who's been reading the science knows that it's all going downhill very quickly. So, yeah, we're here to fly the flag.
So those penguins that we saw that come in earlier, were they with you?
No, but I think they're in a bad way. They're probably climate refugees.
I believe the film is going to be starting very, very soon. Thank you very much for coming, and I loved your film, by the way, but I am disappointed that you're not doing the little dance for us. Thanks, John. Okay, and now we should be getting a shot very soon of a very exciting form of transport that is at a bit of the early stages right now. Here it comes. Yes, we can see it arriving here on the streets of Sydney. This is powered not by your normal carbon belching petrol, but instead by solar energy. Here it comes. I believe we're going to be able to speak to the driver of this incredible vehicle, who's not just the driver, but I believe he is the inventor, the maker, and the basically all-round solar man. But he's having a little bit of trouble getting out. I can see him just over there, and it's looking a little tricky. I think they've got a little bit more work to do on the exiting on the solar cars. But in the future, we're all going to be driving them, that's for sure. Okay, I believe we're going to just got a couple more minutes left before we're going to be going live to see this film, or other. I've heard personally that it's a little bit overrated. You could skip out at this stage, you know, you've done the green carpet. That was probably the best thing. Here he comes, getting out of the solar car. Look at that. Everybody in the future is going to have to be very fit, because you're going to have to jump out of your cars. Okay, let's speed him up here a little bit. Here he comes.